Hi, dear friends. I am here with the central idea of the poem named to the Skylark, written by William Wordsworth. I can say that this is a very nice piece of the poem from Romanticism. We know that the school of Romanticism is a very constructive area of English literature. Here we find that the people are thinking philosophically on the day to day problem. And this school has been a political one because the poets were confronting lots of political issues, which were the burning topics of the time. It is also a kind of revelation of the way as to we can find happiness. We very naturally find that this is the poem on which our life and its happiness depend. Through this discussion, we try to find a kind of romantic angle to the life that romantic poet has been searching the way to make life enjoyable, and they have been living in the world of fancy and imagination to realize the imaginative world. We can also say that it is all our imaginative world where we live happily. But this group of poets has also been trying to shape up that romantic world on the earth. So, if we want to be happy, we want to be romantic in our approach to life, in our thought to life. We find that here is the skylark, which is symbolic of Mother Nature. Or we can also find that in the poem of William Wordsworth, Mother Nature has been a central idea around which the poet has woven the philosophy of life. The poet has a passionate appraisal of the creation of Mother Nature and Almighty. Now, Almighty Mother Nature is full with so many things to make our life happy. It is why we can say that Wordsworth poem and romantic poem is on beauty, joy, mystery in nature. We find that there are numerous mysterious things, and we need unfolding the mysteries to make life progress. Beauty of creation lies in unfolding mystery in nature, and herefrom we can get joy. So, the more we are going to unfold mystery in nature, the more we are happy, we are just romantic. In the poem, the poet talks about the flood of harmony which is showered by Skylark onto the ground from the privacy of glorious light. It simply means that God showers his blessing on the earth. Here, Skylark is flying high into the sky, and it has been described as the privacy of glorious light. In this glorious light, where singularly he is flying, and therefrom he is singing melodious song to shower joy and beauty on the earth. And it is what has been described as God showering his blessing on the earth. Now, it is one aspect that we try to find, that it is the blessing of God that we have been given so many beautiful and natural things to enjoy, including the song of Skylark. And we can say here, the Skylark in the glorious light, while flying into the sky, is just maneuvering so many beautiful compositions of music and songs to shower on the earth. On the other hand, we can find that we can also say that there is another angle to look at. That Skylark is soaring high, singing, and the song is coming out of the quivering of wings of the Skylark. It doesn't sing in the nest to the ground. However, the Skylark is rooted to the ground. He never misses to come back to the ground. Yes, he may fly high and high, but he comes back to the ground. This simply implies that the common people who have got success in their lives must come back to their root to be happy. We can find that there are so many successful people, but they are not happy. There is a region of they are being unhappy, that when they get success, they are delinked from their root. They live into the sky forever, supposing that it is their permanent home. But Wordsworth is of view that this is not the truth. We cannot stay in high all the time. We need to come back where our root is. So this is what a wise activity is observed by the poet regarding Skylark, that it is flying high, but it has all concern of the earth where his nest is lying. Now, we can say that this is the very much region that Skylark is always happy. Despite the fact that this earth is full of suffering, we cannot avoid this earth. We can just fly high into the world of imagination, but it doesn't mean that we are always going to live into that imaginative world. There, we are just going to create something new, but ultimately that creation is showered on the earth. And so we are doing everything for ourselves on the earth, and it is equally true to other people also. So we should not forget the origin or the roots wherefrom we have started our journey. Now, we notice that Skylark is pilgrim, and this sky is pilgrimage. Now, it is the holy place where Skylark goes to find something holy, find something noble in terms of its song that it is singing. So, all the imagination is moving around Skylark, and here the Skylark has been dealt with as a heavenly bird. And metaphorically, we can say that a skylark is the pilgrim of the sky. Simply, the person who is on the way to search and innovate something is to be described as the pilgrim. And the noble work that he is going to do is possible only when he is flying on the imagination. So, this is the noblest work that a skylark is doing, that it creates the noble and beautiful song flying high to the sky. Likewise, we people are pilgrims when we are on journey to find something enjoyable for us, for common people. So we should have a religious heart. To innovate something is a religious work that it is duty bound. It is the holy feeling with which a kind of innovation and research is done. And it is not for only the researcher, it is for the whole community. And the religious is not individual, it is general, it is for the whole community to let enjoy. So Skylark knows all this fact, that whatever song is sung by him into the holy sky is coming out religiously, and it is why it is showered from the sky on the earth for the common people to enjoy. So it is not the exclusive property of just an individual. So in the very beginning of the poem, we find that the poet asks whether it despises the earth which is full of sorrows and suffering, or the skylark remembers the earth where its nest lies behind. By asking this question, the poet tries to give the answer that no, there is no hate feeling and there's nothing to despise the earth, although it is full with sorrow and suffering, because here is the root of the skylark, here is the nest of the skylark where just it is coming and it is to come back. And it is why whatever our root is, our resting place is, that is not despisable. Now we can say that we live there and we should live there, despite lots of sufferings and sorrow that we confront. So here we have another just a singing bird, namely nightingale, which has been compared with the skylark. We find that there is one point of difference, that nightingale lives in the shady wood, but the skylark can hide or can live in light also. And it is there on the just a holy path of the sky that it sings. It cannot sing on the just a shady wood, just unlike like nightingale. So the song that you find is sung by Skylark is melodious one to inundate the world. It is just to make the world happy. It is our religious duty to make the world happy. So here a skylark has been treated, as a religious and spiritual being, which is enjoying himself and which is trying to let the world enjoy as well. It is what wisdom is, and in Indian system also, wisdom lies in the fact that we make other happy. So, as a wise man who does not forget his duty to God, the duty to God is to make the world enjoyable. It is the mortal earth full of sorrow and suffering. However, it doesn't forget its devotion to God. So, devotion to God simply implies that we are just serving to make the earth little bit better to live in. Yes, it is full with sorrow, but it doesn't mean that we should just go on living into the sky. We should try to make this world worth living, either by our duty or by our service and by our other religious performance and spiritual thought and so on. The Skylark does the same thing. It is why that Skylark has been described as a wise man. Wise man knows the art of living on the earth and making this earth purify for the common people, making the earth worth living for the common people. And when we make that kind of treatment to the world, we find that it also becomes worth living. Now, there are some imageries in the poem that we should notice, that it is a mystic poem, that it has decoded a kind of problem with which we are suffering, that we always try to think that yes, this world is not a worth living place because of trouble and suffering, but the poet has given the way how to make our life easy going on this world, as when we are just going to follow the way of living of the skylark. It is why the poet looks at the bird mystically, or the bird spirit of God. There is also a spirit of God within, and we are all a skylark in a sense. The poet tries to say that a skylark, just flying high in the sky, singing and composing melodious sing, is not the only skylark. Yeah, there is a skylark within each and every person, that we can fly on the wings of imagination to create a beautiful song and shower therefrom on the world and other people. So that spirit of God that is very much into the skylark is present into each and every person. So why should you not be trying to make our life like a skylark? Let skylark of our heart awake. And so the poem has nature image, such as the skylark soaring up so high. It's a special privilege to sing in all seasons, and its comparison with nightingale. There are virtually imagery too that we can observe into the first stanza, a nest in a dew covered ground. In the third stanza, the nightingale in a shady forest. We also find poet using metaphors such as ethereal minstrel, that the nightingale is a folk singer, a spiritual folk singer, although it is a comparison only, but it is to be assumed like ethereal minstrel or pilgrim of the sky. So, very nice metaphors have been used for the nightingale. Another figure of his speech is to be noticed in terms of oxymoron, that more of contradiction in the second line of the third stanza, where the sky has been described as a private place for the nightingale, so a skylark, which is full with light. But how is it private place when it is full with light? That is a contradiction. And so it is described to be oxymoron in this stanza. Now we can also look at the just a rhyme scheme, which is AB, and CC. We have just talked about rhyme scheme into the 6 lines. That first and the third are rhymed, and the second and fourth are rhymed, and fifth and sixth are rhymed. Personification is also to be observed here when we say bosom of the plain and skylark, heavenly bird, and there are 2 stanzas of 6 lines each. So you find so many types of figure of speech that poet has used, and the skylark is a holy place or pilgrimage, and bird has a religious heart. It sung songs of all seasons, full of love and joy. Nightingale lives into the shady wood, but the skylark into the lighted sky. The bird has been compared with wise men. It is also a kind of metaphor which does not forget its duty to God. Likewise, we too have our duty to God, living on this mortal earth of sorrow and suffering. So, it is described to be a mystic poem. Bird has the spirit of God, and so we people also have the spirit of God to enjoy. The poet concludes that enjoyment is not found outside, it is within. It is in the spirit that we can find very good melodious song, as a skylark is just trying to extract the spiritual songs while flying. We too can extract the religious song on imagination to enjoy and to make the earth beautiful and worth living. So we also have the poem on a skylark by P.B. Shelley. That is also said that a skylark is not a creature of flesh and blood. It is a metaphysical abstraction, the image of rapture which no man can ever reach. And we also find that we too are a skylark here. We can find the same level of melody into our song when we start living just like a skylark. So here is the all concluding remarks that we can find about this poem, and it is what the central idea is of the poem to the Skylark by William Wordsworth.